This game is looking good. Standing on it on my success, I wish a nigga would. This just an introduction. I'm all about that bussin'. Ain't talking about no love song, I'm talking about no Russians. This just another hustle to get me out the struggle. Do what it takes for this cake, nigga. Call me Russell. I'm on your mind, nigga. I'm on my grind, nigga. I'm coming back. One more time, nigga. I said back, ain't nothing but a setup for a comeback, nigga. I will never let her. This is elite hustling, elite hustling. You niggas frontin', we up to something.
A setback ain't nothing but a setup for a comeback, nigga. I would never let up. This is elite hustling, elite hustling. You niggas front, aha, we up the sun. A setback ain't nothing but a setup for a comeback, nigga. I would never let up. This is elite hustling, elite hustling. You niggas front, aha, we up the sun. Well, at least he hustling, at least he ain't struggling. Haters hate on niggas who getting money, all that nonsense. Can't wait on the government, but I gotta get all this money in. Being patient so hard, I gotta get on this cup of gin. Weed give me common sense, cause I swear I'll be losing it. Call me Toucan Sam, cause I be on the fruitiest. Elitists like our president, or at least like the Jeffersons. We all tryna move up. Is there anywhere we haven't been? I don't even do it for 'em, I do it for the fuck of it. Like this money be rolling in, I do it for the touch of it. I love it like I'm lusting it, lust it like I'm fucking it. Fuck it like we're making babies, now we're making money, ladies. Distribute to 100 cities, bet I sell 1 million. Legalize drugs and now they'll end the recession. Elite hustling, elite hustling. You niggas frontin', aha, we up to something. Hey, a setback ain't nothing but a setup for a comeback, nigga. I would never let up. This is elite hustling, elite hustling. You niggas frontin', aha, we up to something. A setback ain't nothing. Yo, peace to the guys. What's going on? I got McKinley Cougar in the building. What's going on, guy?
What's good, fam? Thank you once again for having me on. It's a blessing to be here, you dig?
Hey, man. The people definitely finna benefit from having, you know what I'm saying, a soothsayer, a king like yourself on here, you know what I mean?
I appreciate that, my man.
Like
all praise to my teachers, you know?
For real.
For real.
But hey, I appreciate everybody out there whoever out there, you know, hit that like button on your way in or whatever the case may be. You know, drop a comment. Let me know you out there. What's going on? I'm finna say, y'all know we finna touch on these mud floods. So of course, when you say mud floods, Tartaria tends to be the only thing spoken of, which probably shouldn't be the case, of course, because for there to be in a great mud flood or a great deluge, this thing would have to be worldwide, huh, bro?
Exactly. You know, and that's the beauty of it, man, is that we're figuring out what happened. We just got to figure out how often it does happen.
Exactly. Because it's a danger. It's a danger that we need to be aware of. You know, that's why we talk about Mu, Lemuria, Atlantis. This shit is real.
Oh yes, all types of documents.
You kind of went out. Or is it on my side? I don't know. I couldn't hear you, brother. Let me check.
Check. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know if it was my side or your side.
I was on YouTube watching us on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah. You gotta have 2-3 different, you know, devices, man. It'd be crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy. Yeah, there's evidence all over of these mud floods and sunken cities and melted bricks, you know, and that it's a sign of technology. It's a sign of the realm that we're in, and there's ways to defeat it. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get into talking about it during this conversation now.
That's for sure. I'm finna definitely touch on some of that melted brick. I'm glad you brought that up. And like I said, we not just gonna look at Tartaria, but we have to also look at Tartaria. Because we talking about the whole world. We talking about the Great Deluge. Mhm. Like
Right.
there might be more truth to the mythologies and the Bible prophecies than y'all ever thought.
Righteous.
That's why it's called a story. It don't mean there's a lot. Get your mind right. Get your mind right. You know. Hold
Uh,
on.
like we are speaking on earlier, it's not that the people's
Yep, I think.
minds aren't
Okay.
ready for it. Is that they've been taught those contradictory ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And because they've been taught those contradictory ideas, if you tell them
I don't, bro. I ain't gonna lie. They messing with your audio.
my bad, my man. I was dipping in and out of apps. Am I back?
Yep, yep. I ain't gonna lie. Any of them that you can close down will probably help you stop
Copy
chopping up.
that. Let me go
That,
ahead and get rid of the rest of these. Because I was sending some pictures of ancient technology to you. All right.
oh yeah, yeah.
I'm ready, man.
Mm. Look at this. The basement of Russia's Fort Zarev used alternative napalm until it caught fire in the 1970s. Temperatures were so hot that bricks melted, creating an artificial cave of red brick. You know,
Huh.
yep,
Yeah.
dripping from above. That's wild. Like he was speaking on that melted brick. When we say Russia, that's Tartaria. Same
Well,
area.
yes, it was all the same, man. And the bad thing is that they're trying to separate us because I think if we all got together, we'd figure it out. So they got to keep it separate, because if we all got together and we all had a game plan on what we could do to survive what's coming, uh, we would survive it. But they want to keep us separate, and they want to keep us stuck on these contradictory beliefs, and you need faith in order to believe the contradiction because it's so blatantly a contradiction.
Hey, bro, put it like this: if temperatures get so hot, like let's say these were ancient stone structures, which obviously they were some sort of, and if it got so hot that the brick melted,
Hmm.
bro, melanin don't stand a chance. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
exactly.
it ain't gonna matter what you are in these conditions.
My man, I know you're pretty well versed in the story of Seth and Ra. Can you give like a brief paraphrase of what you remember?
Seth and Ra.
Right. Um,
Well, in different stories, Seth is the son of Ra, but it's also primordially, Set is Set Typhon,
uh-huh.
you know, I pretty much think Set Typhon is associated with a pep, and a pep does try to swallow or devour the sun every day, every morning, you know.
Mm.
So that's it's pretty much the whole point of the sun setting. When we saying set. So
Cause
you
see,
know,
I heard another story, and not to provide the contradiction,
no, no,
but
no, no. I just wanted to see where you wanted to go with it. Go ahead, brother.
that there were two sons, Ra and Set, and that at a
Mm,
time they battled in the sky together. You know what I mean? And
hmm.
Ra defeated Seth, and I know it has something to do with like the Osiris story too, right? Um, Something about them fighting, Ra and Seth fighting, and we take it as because they tell us to. We take it as this deity mythology when really it's the mechanics of this realm in operation. And there's a point where these two suns appear in the sky and they're capable of this type of destruction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And
Wow.
and the capability to melt the brick, right? So it's so hot that it's melting brick. And Ra and Seth. That's so like I kind of want to dive into that story more. If anybody knows anything about Ra and Seth and the two sun gods, that if you could comment down below and add to the conversation.
For sure. Because we can
Right,
always drop the link, but we definitely not trying to slow the pace down. So if you definitely gonna add value, you're welcome
right.
for sure.
Look at those pictures, man. And so, as they say, Tartaria was the last civilization before the last deluge, right? And so
Hey,
that's, I
whoa,
think,
wow, wow. So boom, like you can see the screen, right?
yes, sir.
More people are living in Southeast Asia than outside of it. Right? So this is where all of the melanated people are in Southeast Asia. Like even many scholars like um what's his I forget the brother with the accent, but I know J.A. Rogers wrote it in his book in 1901 or 1903. But also the scholar that we dang, I like him. He just got a funny little European type of. Really, he got a South American accent, brother.
Okay.
I just put the video on my TikTok. That's crazy.
You know,
But
you know, you know what's funny about looking at that? If more people live in that one circle than outside of it, that the idea of overpopulation is a farce. You know what I mean?
mhm.
That's a big lie. If more people live there than anywhere else, um, on any other of those, man, there's no way we can overpopulate the rest of the rest of those land masses. You follow me?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's one of those logical fallacies that they got us hooked on. That overpopulation is going to come and we're going to run out of natural resources. Well, no, man, they just got us bickering over ideas that they create for us to bicker over. If more people live in that area than anywhere else, yeah,
Hold on, because this is who I was talking about, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima.
okay.
Oh shoot. Here we go. My bad. 1 second.
I was reading the comment. He says, "Funny set is slang for the block chilling on the set."
You will see what is sustained almost desperate attempt to wipe out anything that is
Exactly.
not European. This is all pervasive. In Asia, it is just as true as it is in Africa. In Asia, in fact, there has been a tremendous attempt to destroy the black. There are 100 million black people today in Asia. Most of you are not aware of that. 100 million blacks in Asia. And when I speak of Asia, it covers not only India, it goes into parts of Melanesia, it goes through the Pacific Islands, all of these places. And Asia covers a vast area. It covered the Mesopotamian world, the Euphrates Valley in early times. It covered a part of particularly when you go into these books, you will see what is sustained, almost desperate attempt to wipe out anything that is not European. This is all pervasive. In Asia, it is just as true as it is in Africa. In Asia, in fact, there has been a tremendous attempt to Yep. You know, like I was just showing how you know, that 100 million black people that he's speaking of live in Southeast Asia or South Asia, Southern Asia. And they just told you that there are more people living in Southeast Asia than outside of it. So China ain't got shit on the bottom half of Asia. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Russia, all of that. So, and they add India's population in there too. So that's another billion. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we know they got a lot of dark skinned people. So this like people got to understand why this is looked at. Like, if you got to just use logic, it's not necessarily 100% true or accurate, but it's most likely it's probably more right than wrong. But if you have the majority of the people in the world living in that part of the world, it's almost safe to say all life would probably come from that part of the world. I'm just telling you this. You know what I mean? It can sound crazy to others. Some people gonna think the people with the smallest population, yeah, all life started there, where the little population is. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
no. That ain't how this works.
Man, and like that whole idea of separation, because he was talking about how they destroyed everything ethnic, so to say, and replaced it with European. You dig what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they destroyed all the technology. They destroyed the power. So in the art of war, you're gonna go hit the power plant. You're gonna go destroy the food supply. You're gonna go desecrate the electrical plants. You know what I mean? And so this is what they're saying. They basically came through and destroyed it and said, all this was bad, and what we're bringing to you is good.
Hey, brother, I'm gonna let you tackle this one right here, bro. This is just for you.
Okay.
Hey, it said you can fit every planet in the solar system in between the Earth and the Moon. Huh? Come on, man.
And the problem is, man, is that's a logical fallacy, right? There's no way that anybody can take those types of measurements to come to that type of a conclusion, right? We know that the moon is definitely not as far as they say it is, that instead of it being 93 million miles away, it's really 93,000 miles away, right? So airplanes fly at about 30,000 feet. The sun is about 93,000 miles above. You know what I mean? And that's that fallacy right there. You know what I mean? That in order to believe that you can fit some luminous objects, it's just a whole bunch of mess that they have us believing in order to keep us asleep, in order for us to not figure out the mechanics of this realm, you know? And so to me, that's a big distraction right there. What was the title of it?
My bad, brother.
Hello.
You just asked me a question, right? You're going.
I just read my man's comic deck down here at the bottom, and it says Black people should be fighting for alien rights, not human rights. And you know that those are those ideas that we're using language based off the conqueror's concepts, right? So if I could read it how I would want to read it, it would say original people should be fighting for indigenous rights, not monster rights, right? Because
that was human means monster. Yeah,
human means monster. So the original people of this plane should be fighting the aliens, right? So we know that because of melanin, we're well adapted to this plane. You dig? Those who lack melanin can't be out in the sun too long. You know what I mean? So obviously, we're more adapted to this plane than they are, right? And so they want us to think that we're the aliens and they're indigenous, just like they want us to think, you know, in reality, that objects can stick to a spinning ball, and they want us to believe that, you know. But it's a fallacy. So original people should be fighting for original rights, not monster rights, you know, because this is what these monsters want. They want to, like, this whole, I don't even think we can do the acronym. They might flag this thing, but if we do the acronym, it doesn't. And the jab, what the acronym and the jab is for, is to change you into a monster, not a man or woman. So instead of us thinking that we're men and women, they got us thinking we're humans, which is legally defined as monster.
My bad. I'm talking with the mic, but hey, it's literally, yeah, I got it right here on the screen, just to confirm it for the
Gotcha.
people.
You want me to read that out?
Yep.
It says, from Ballantyne's Law Dictionary, 1948 edition, human being is defined as follows. C, monster. From the same dictionary, monster is defined a human being by birth, but in some part resemble a lower animal. Wow. Wow, what does that mean?
Yeah. Hey, watch this. Like, a matter of fact, read it one more time.
I got you, man. Let me fit it in my screen better. All right. From Ballantyne's Law Dictionary, the 1948 edition, human being is defined as follows. C, monster. From the same dictionary, monster is defined as a human being by birth, but in some part resembling a lower animal. Human being, his holy church. Wow, they're playing with us, man.
Hold on. I thought I had it on the screen already. I would have thought I would have. But I got it now. Oh dang, I had it there too. I could have used it. Yeah, I'm moving too fast. I'm moving fast, but here we go. You say lower half resembling what?
An animal. Wow.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
it's called a vestige, a human vestige. You know? So being that some people are born with this human vestige or this sixth toe or you know,
So
you
they
can just
look like men and women. They're
mhm.
born like this. Right.
Yep, like this. You see,
Man.
you know?
Yes, I do. And so, the whole point of the of the jab was to change the DNA, right? That was the whole point of the jab. They let us know this is what the jab's going to do. It's going to alter your DNA. So no longer are you a man or a woman. You're this altered thing now that they created.
Mhm.
That Darwin was right.
Mhm.
Does this man prove that Darwin was right? Let's get down in here. Scientists discover in Philippines a living man with a tail, and experts declare it is a true return to ancestral conditions, proving we all used to have them. There's the words.
You know, this and put it like this. You know, they'll tell us that we came from primates. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They're literally telling us we come from a primate. And what they're telling us, pri meaning first, or pre meaning, first or before, and we know what a mate is. Mhm. They saying this is the first mate for, I mean, it must be for women because women always say that women were here first. So if they were here first, then their pre or prime mate
Hmm.
would have been would have had a tail. Let's just say that much.
You know what was the funniest thing I ever heard, man? This cat said, "Notice there's no black people in the evolutionary ladder." And I was like, they
Yeah,
made a mistake right there, Jack. You know what I mean?
yeah,
they,
yeah.
they didn't know where to put the black dude, so they just left him out of it. And it kind of like proves the point.
Man, that these are human beings is what we showing y'all. You know what you looking at are human beings.
Not man or woman.
Mm-mm-mm.
And man, the problem, every time I think about that phrase, the problem is choice. Do you want to be a man or a woman? Or do you want to be a human? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard someone talking about how I'm only human. I'm that if you're a man or a woman, you're perfect because you're the creator's creation. But if you're only human, well, you have flaws because you're only human.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Vestige structures. Features present in modern animals that are no longer in use. Point one, I'm sorry about that. Point two, give hints as to the evolution of organisms. Examples, human tailbone, whale pelvis, and the appendix.
Yeah, I was trying to find that Lemurian video. Where I put that? But most definitely, it's saying the same stuff that we just spoke on as far as about these real human beings. Hold on. Okay, there we go.
Righteous. You see, my man said, being, they are acting to be. Humans are not beings, humans are reapers. Aliens mixing with earthlings. Righteous. That was in the comments. My bad, man.
Yeah, for sure.
The third root race called
I appreciate y'all chiming in.
was androgynous, hermaphrodite, giant, and impotent. You see, they had a lot going on. You know, they had androgyny, they had hermaphrodites, they had giants, and even some of them was impotent. Couldn't even make no children. Right. In the early days of Lemuria, the human species was hardly distinguishable from animal species. But through 150,000 years of evolution, the Lemurians have reached such a great degree of civilization that we Aryans are still a long way from reaching it. Right? Aryan means noble or knowledge. Doesn't mean, those people who call themselves Aryans nowadays. In synthesis, since this was the first race to take a human animal body, the main focus of the imitation of awareness of the physical body, healthy and strong, capable to face the challenges of nature, not only the natural disasters, but the constant threat of animals which dominated Earth then. Through many thousand years of constant earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, Lemuria has melted into the waves of the Pacific Ocean, rising from the ocean floor to the Atlantean continent. The third root race called Lemurians, right? Lemuria, of course, was androgynous, hermaphrodite, giant, and impotent. You see, they had a lot.
Wow.
More of them human beings, being that what it do. You got the guys in the building.
Righteous. The problem that I see, man, is that all this hidden information, that those pictures bugged me out. Like, it wasn't just one person with this type of deformity. It was a whole village of people with that same abnormality, or I don't even know if I'm saying the politically correct thing. But that video just bugged me out, man.
Real. I know what you mean.
It wasn't just it was a concentrated group. And so I think this is where the confusion is, man. Is that were these DNA experiments gone wrong in a later time that we now have proof of, and maybe one of those DNA experiences that, that like my man was saying, they're DEing, you know what I mean? That they're trying to pretend to be human, or try to pretend to be a man or a woman, actually was successful. But those could have been results of failed experiments on people, man. I want to say the acronym. I want to say the acronym so bad, man.
Real. Like what radiation are they using to make people like this right here? Like, it's something. It ain't just genetics. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
it's a form of altered carbon, but on a older level.
man, like I heard that it's the pituitary gland. So if you think about like the people they say have giantism, it's always something wrong with their pituitary gland, right? And I think that because we have this high concentration of fluoride in our water, that our pituitary gland hasn't evolved correctly. And it maybe even without the right type of influence or nourishment, that these giants were commonplace, it seems, but because the pituitary gland didn't have any fluoride in it, or the pituitary gland wasn't calcified. And so they grew to these enormous heights. But now, if somebody grows to these enormous heights, oh, something's wrong with his pituitary gland,
Like, how can you tell us that person is like just 8 feet tall?
Nah, man,
Like
10 feet.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. These people are two people standing on top of each other. I don't care if that person's 5 foot. That means he's 10 feet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They want us to think otherwise. Like, no, he's just two rulers taller. A ruler don't stand a chance. You need a whole yardstick.
Yeah, they're like, something was wrong with his pituitary gland. That's what his problem was. But really, it's the fluoride. Like we all should probably be about like 10 feet tall. But they got so much fluoride in the water that our pituitary gland is stunted.
Mm. Come on now. She make him like a real leprechaun. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is.
I like that style, man. Like she looks beautiful,
For sure.
Yeah. So when did this?
Like people got to ask themselves why all these ancient civilizations are always dug. They're dug out. You have to dig them out. If you got to dig them out, that means they're already buried in earth or sand.
Check your phone, my man. I sent you a couple of good examples earlier when I was getting there. Like this one right here in the middle. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good one you got. That's a good one you got.
Like when they run into all these ancient structures, they have to dig them out.
Right.
Like, or they ran into them trying to dig and do some other stuff and be like, hold on. I think we got something here. You feel me? We're gonna dig around it first.
And man, like I think these devices, were so common because people weren't hoodwinked. People weren't bamboozled. Can you go back up a little bit? But so they call it excavating when really they're tomb robbing. They're really, wow, where's that at? I can't see.
Trying to see. Oh, okay, this might be in Mexico because it's talking about the niches. I was just gonna pull up them because that's the image I have on my thumbnail right now. Right.
Right.
So we're gonna tap on them. Stop playing, right?
Man, how
Yeah,
hot does it have to be to melt a structure like that?
exactly. Rob was on a warpath.
So see, like real talk. So check it out, man. So there's one of a deluge, and then the next one's gonna be fire. One of a deluge, next one fire. You dig it? I mean,
Yep.
and like Prime was talking about earlier, how he was talking about like that movie, man, Pitch Black, right? And that planet crematorium, or this is like an actual process of the realm, though. It burns everything, it melts everything. Only stone survives.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And barely. It barely survived. Like, could you imagine at the way things are looking? Like we can go like as far as to say that there was never a such thing as mountains. Uh, these
Right?
were these were immaculate fortresses that the creator or Ra destroyed. Huh?
Right.
He
Oh, and
melted.
organic beings. You dig it? I
Yeah.
mean, living creatures.
Hmm. So if they think they could build metal structures and think that's going to stand a chance, that's just ridiculous.
Right. And you know, like they got us thinking that it's some type of doomsday thing or some big catastrophe. Yeah, but there's a way to survive it. You know, there's a way to prepare for it and plan for it and to be ahead of it. And this is the thing that I think that we need to own the future. You know what I'm saying? We need to own the future with evidence of the past. And if we can replicate this technology and bypass this era, you know, we'll be all right.
Yeah, yeah. Right. The Pyramid de Niches is in Mexico. You feel me?
Hmm.
And when they unearthed it, like they had to unearth this. You feel me? And this just brings more credence to what I mean about mud floods. And it just it just don't make no sense why all these places all these great structures and civilizations, whole civilization are under earth. And they were not, you know what I'm saying? It's not like they were beneath earth. Like they were literally on top of the soil. But something happened that flooded
Right.
all these places out.
Right. Here, I'll tackle this one, man. The most
Oh,
impressive.
my bad. Let me go back.
Okay. There we go. The most impressive and emblematic ruin of El Tahin is the Pyramid of Niches. It rises 20 meters tall with 7 step terraces leading to the top. Each of its 4 sides is covered with stacked rows of small niches formed from blocks of stone.
And it's exactly 365 of those niches on the block stone. Hmm.
Yo, man, and this is what I'm saying. Like these things were counting down something. You know,
Yes,
so
sir.
he got yeah. Here's these. We got to be able to warn people. Well, let's warn them in the mathematics. So once they figure out this 365 and they figure out all these simple things, they'll see what happened to us. You know,
Yep. So right here in America, we're gonna be able to notice a flood came through. I want to show the pre before they dug it out, before they unearthed it.
Yeah, they had to unearth the Sphinx too.
Exactly. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And like we are talking earlier, downtown too. They had to unearth it. Everybody's downtown.
Shouldn't have it already on the computer. Marco Nietzsche. No, that's something else. But yeah, man, that look like a Shaolin temple almost, man. I ain't lying.
You know the beauty of it, like we're talking about how downtown is 7 stories deep. You know, the beauty of it, it looks like everybody was united, not only in the also in the architecture. You know,
Exactly.
and so this, like I said, this is one of those things they want to try to prevent. They want to prevent us from uniting because there might be a simple form of architecture that you know
You know
that
how you know what I call it? I call it Moorish, and they know this. You know
huh,
what I mean? Like they scared of that.
they're scared of abundance. As soon
Exactly.
as soon as as soon as we can develop an abundance, they have no control over us. And like we were talking about earlier, that mission to find proof of these places. It's time for us to build ours.
Hold on, I'm gonna do what I did before.
That's beautiful. And, and, and so, man, with this idea of Tartaria, right? So these uniquely similar stoned buildings all over the world were electrical plants or gardens, right? And so that the water flowed in a certain way that it bounced off of each one of these walls, creating these different types of gardens, right? And so this place that's on the screen now, different from an ancient cathedral, what we would think of as an electrical plant. So the cathedral would be the electrical plant, the pyramid would be the garden. You dig? And around as the water flowed through these places, it was able to feed the whole basin of people. And so they all went to these gardens or these structures that were designed for produce, designed to produce produce.
It's for real too. Let's see. The brother said the Yakub story might be a folktale. I mean, it seemed like all of it has some truth to it because we see grafting going on all the time. You feel me? That's the whole point of a melting pot. You
You
know.
know, yeah, I like the question. You know, that's what we're supposed to do. That's how we get technology, teachology. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I like my man said, yeah, there's got to be some truth to the Yakub story of Yakub. Maybe we'd call him uh,
Oh,
Dr.
Dr.
F.
Moreau.
Yeah, we call it. Yeah, there you go. Dr. Monroe. You dig what I'm saying? And he's trying to run these experiments on people, just like they're trying to do to us today. You know, and it led to these catastrophes, or not necessarily catastrophes, but um, mutations. There you go.
What's PNF Infinite in the building. Hold on. Wales flag dragon is serpent of serpent mound. Okay. Make it make sense. And the same dragon is on the Tartar flag. The land of serpent is the land of elves.
Uh, uh,
Plaza bird in Alto, Illinois is solid proof. Y'all go check them out. Subscribe to my brother. Make sure you subscribe to McKinley Cougar, the brother on board with me also.
you know, man, I, 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 I love questions. You know what I mean? Because the right question will help us tune into the right answer. And if we say 2 plus 2 is 4, or what is 3 plus 3, everybody thinks of the right answer. So I'm reading the comments right now. Who PNF Infinite Word. And so, as we were talking about earlier, um, these symbols being um, ideas of electric. So, like the snakes, you see all these snakes, and they're really talking about waveform, or sound form, or like the loss in translation between like what does the dragon actually mean, and how does it tie into these nations? Is what is it a symbol of? Like we're talking about how gold and Mercury is a symbol of the griffin, you know, righteous.
What's up? For sure. Hold on. Let me just
Whoa, check out the last comment. Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah. That's what I was just
Back to
speaking
that
on.
Yakub connection, huh?
Yeah. That's what I was just speaking on. Dr. Moreau. Definitely more.
Yeah, doing some uh what you call, like they're trying to do to us today by making us take this injection.
Well, they ain't making us. I'll tell you that.
Say word, son.
You know what I'm saying?
not
For
not
sure.
us, fly.
You feel me? But I know some people that's definitely not being forced. They just they with it.
Well, yeah, like the contradictory ideas. They hold two contradictory ideas at once. And so even though they know they shouldn't do it, they do it because they don't know
Dang.
what to.
Wow. I like that. Yeah. Man, hold on. I can't let y'all keep showing out with these comments, man. Let me get back with this
I
here.
know, man. I'm stuck in the comments, bro.
You feel me? Y'all over here
Yeah,
showing that.
they getting it.
Cause we was just right chill. Hey, PNF, what you know about that?
And so, like, have you guys ever seen an image of the DNA strand in 3D? It kind of looks like Quetzalcoatl, right? DNA strand in 3D. And so every time I think of like these ancient structures and they symbolize, uh, the sun rays coming down and Quetzalcoatl, man, yeah, they're talking about DNA. These, these, look at that, man, that's beautiful.
Wow. Let's get it. You know they're in trouble. You know they're in trouble. You know. Balakistan. Balakistan.
Blockistan, okay.
Yeah. And the riddle of the other sphinx is the Balakistan Sphinx. Mm. A large rock structure that looks very similar to the Great Sphinx of Giza. They know what it is while they playing games. You feel me? Look, you know the here go the Caucasian. Debunking. Yeah.
Debunking.
Yeah. Hey.
Aliens did that. There were aliens. Okay. Yes. That bugs me out, man. There's no way that the ancients, code word for black people, had power tools. It must have been aliens. They don't want to give us no credit, bro.
They love to say stuff like this is a natural phenomenon.
Right.
You know, the weather eroded it. This comes from millions of years of wind and sand. You know, like, come on now.
Yeah, man, the wind is talented.
Yeah, it's the sculptor of the, of the million years, of the million year march.
Yeah, the wind got to no, man. And then to tell us that these civilizations weren't connected, that these people didn't share the same ideas.
Well, just we're not the same people at all. Just it's impossible.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like that whole idea that somebody in Australia, what is he doing with a cell phone and Nikes? You know what I'm saying? And so they try to act like in Pakistan, the Pakistans didn't know about the Egyptians. You know what I mean? And they shared technology. Of course, somebody in Australia got a cell phone and Nikes, but they want to tell us no, they don't.
All right, so we know Balakistan is definitely popping. Let me see. Let's move on.
Wow. I wonder what direction that Sphinx is pointing in.
For real.
Because the signification of it, is it because of astrology? Is it Leo? You know what I mean? Is that what they're trying to tell us? This time in Leo, just like the time of Moses was the time of the cow. You know what I mean? So this was the time of Leo when this happened. That's beautiful.
Like, come on now, like, we know that's supposed to be considered a little chain of mountains, but can we see that that's a tree stump at its, you know what I'm saying, at its finest?
Righteous, man. And you know what it looks like they were after?
With that?
Unobtainium. You dig? And like they're saying, they try to tell us in the movies that in these large trees, there's this mineral that we're trying to obtain. So we got to chop these large trees down and dig in their core to get this unobtainium, just like in the movie.
Wow, that's why the core is gone.
righteous for
Wow.
the and you know, man, think about how large that tree was. Of course, there was a civilization in it. Of course,
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Hey,
Would have lived in the tree, and
yeah, yeah,
that might have been where all those X chromosomes found their pride mate. You know, their first mate. Let me
come
just
on,
say
man, talk
that.
about it.
You know, but it just brings credence more to like the story of Agatha. You know,
Who's
when
Agatha?
uh, Agatha
Okay.
is is the giant tree, the
Oh,
world tree. You know, so civilization once lived in the world tree, which would have been something like this, of course. You know,
beautiful.
because
Yes, sir.
not only is it wide enough, but being taller would have been like, oh my gosh, the biggest. You know what I mean? The biggest, what we call them, skyscrapers. The biggest
Righteous,
skyscraper and the widest. It would have been a country. You
my
know,
man.
a
Can you
state.
bring up? Can you look up King of Wings, New Mexico?
King of Wings.
Yes, sir.
That sounds like a Mexican KFC.
Sound delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get instead of biscuits, they give you tortillas.
You know what I mean?
That's good, man. That sounds good to me. And some salsa, I'm with it. Oh yeah, King of Wings. Let's see. Can you get into the images of it? Because there's one in particular that shows you the axe, the chop. There it is. You see the axe?
Yeah, yeah. Dang, that's the axe that chopped it, huh? That's the ancient axe by the ancient lumberjack, huh?
Yeah. Well, what was his name? Paul Bunyan, huh?
Yeah, ain't that something?
King of Wings, New Mexico. And he just rested it there, it looks like.
Yep, yep. Damn, that's a big boy axe. Wow. Man, you just went there. And you didn't even know about Agatha, but you had the other piece to the puzzle, bro.
I did.
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, man. And
A lot of people see that.
so
It's
you know,
resting right there. And the head of the hammer had to been so heavy that, you know, the handle part didn't matter. It can hang off.
yeah,
You
that
know?
thing's perfectly balanced, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
Who wielded that thing? Who
Man.
wielded?
Come on now. That's Nephilim. That's Anunnaki. You know what I mean? That's okay. We got PNF in the building. Know what I mean?
Yo, what up, bro?
What's going on, God?
Yeah, man, I was trying to get up here now and piggyback on that comment that bro put up there about the what did he say? The dang, I forgot that damn quick.
You
It
talking
was
about
the
this?
Israelites or something like that.
Israelites.
He didn't script my mind. Let me go back to the comments as
Just,
well. And then that mud flood, I want to mention something. I'm gonna drop a gang of stuff right quick for y'all. Open y'all brain up 1 second. But I do want to see this comment before I say something. Let me see. Let me see this comment. Okay, okay, here go your channel right here. 1 second. I don't even see the comment no more. That's dirty. That's dirty. Okay, they said the Israelites. Oh no, it was Yaqub.
you were talking
It
about
was
Dr.
about
Moreau.
Yaqub, right?
Yeah, Dr. Moreau.
Okay. So this what I want to say about that. I think Yakub is real. For the last 2 days, it's been on my brain. That's how I know y'all psychic. So I've been doing research on the Canaanites and how the Israelites stole their stuff, right? So these British Israelites, these so-called Moorish British Israelites, is stealing everything Canaan. Elijah Muhammad said the Canaanites was created exactly for that purpose, to bite at the heels of the so-called Asiatic black man and to destroy everything he made. He was, so what I'm saying is these so-called Israelite Jacobites, who you can look up in Europe, they had a war in Europe, and ever since then they've been stealing Welsh, aka Canadian Canaanite history, right? So I do support that Jacobite story. I do support it, that they are grafted like that and bred like that. And one more thing, I just found out the etymology of Moor in Welsh is rose. Is rose. So even when you spell rose like the flower rose in Welsh, it come out the same spelling. It's RHOSY, rehos, like rehos. So anyway, the first thing came to my mind is, since rose mean more, let me go and find any destroyed place in America that start with rose. First thing come up was Rosewood. So all that go in tune with the mud flood, and the people who did not leave and remain was called mudajars or mudajin. So all of this going to the mud flood of stealing from the Moors, especially the one I just named, Rosewood, who was destroyed simply just for being dark skinned. Because they're hiding this stuff in the language in English and Spanish. And if you don't know the etymology, they'll be telling you how they conquering Moors and you don't get it.
Righteous. You know, man, like rose even made me think of a compass. Isn't rose another name for a compass? I think. I'm not too sure, man.
Yeah.
And so like you said, it's all hidden in this wordplay that they got us using.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Derrick Rose. That brother woke as far as understanding that he is a Moor. You hear me?
Yeah.
And I bet he probably came into that information through his last name.
Yeah.
That's how we all do it, right?
Exactly. Yep. Because like you say, Rose. And you just broke down the meaning of it. What it ties up to.
Now, I was watching the Abos channel earlier with Dr. Longo, the European Slavic guy with the blonde hair. And he made 2 cold points that I think I heard D'Calico break down already. And another brother, but he broke it down to where I could give him credit. So he pulled up the Muscovy duck, which is a red-headed duck, right? And then he pulled up the pheasant bird, and it had a red head, and he tried to correlate that's where the red fez came from. Even though I know we got our own history behind where the fez come from, but both of them birds had them red heads on there, and that rose and more always is connected to red. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, here's the red man right here. Not necessarily red, all the way red, but mahogany, reddish brown people of America, not all the way black. So you feel me? All that going together, the red race, the red flag, the red man,
the copper tone
side of the red, copper. Yeah, copper, the same thing. It's just a replacement anyway.
Right.
I ain't telling nobody to invite him to the barbecue or anything, but Dr. Longo might be the coldest white boy out there.
He might be the coldest, but because I know he been watching my channel and others,
bro.
I think he just cold at that remixing.
Yeah, bro. We know what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So even then, like for you, I ain't gonna say they had the audacity, but for you to have the wherewithal to literally listen and follow us. You know what I'm saying? Listen to us and follow. You got a lot of sense. I can't lie. You know what I'm saying? Because you could be anywhere else but here. You feel me?
Do you remember how you got to the rose? To the rose, you said something before. Well, like right when you came in, you combined. You got to the rose, but you got there. I forgot how you got there, man, and I'm stuck on that point.
Oh yeah, I
Because
had got to the Rose because in Welsh, I'm studying Wales and Welsh, and Yale University. I'm studying this to find out if it's Canaanite and Moors. So I went and did the etymology of Moor and Welsh, and it came out to rose, like the red rose. So that goes for Rosemont, Dig Rose, Rosicrucian, Rosewood Massacre.
Yeah.
All that's more wood. You feel me? More.
That you say that because red always represented the Moors.
Exactly. They the red race. And you can look up the red people of China, the Red Republic, all that was Moors.
And
hey,
blue
you know what? And earlier, Prime said that when you combine gold and copper, they call it rose gold.
Yep, sure enough. Cold-blooded. Yep.
Cold-blooded. Yep. Rose gold. Right? You combine gold. So yeah, we all in tune because we was just having this conversation earlier.
Yeah, P&F, my bro. Like if you see the last video I did, I put Calico and P&F, the coldest scholars. So I'm just saying as far as a European goes, y'all, Europeans better go listen to Dr. Longo. How about that?
Longo, he taking over.
Yeah, for real. What I'm saying is though, I remember him. Like I know the voice, man. I'm not lost by a long shot, but I remember him. He used to, man, damn to have. He the first person used to have like 24-hour bills, 48 hours. Like I'd be like, how?
Yeah, I remember that. You got a good ass memory. He used to do videos with the Australian theorists on everything.
Bro, I thought he was a robot. I thought he was a robot because not only is he intellectual, he'd be up 2 days straight.
Yo, man, you got to. That's how I know you've been around. Longo been around for a minute. A lot of people don't know that. That's deep.
Yeah, he probably didn't go by that name. I remember what he was calling himself. And I remember like the last time I even went on his channel, I dropped some stuff so hot, I shared it to my community wall, and he took the video down. I'm like, damn, I ain't never gonna be able to get it. For one, he would be on there too damn long anyways.
Mm-hmm.
The first person I ever seen going way beyond the 11-hour thing. You feel me?
Yeah, he been pushing that out of Australia for years.
Bro, every time I used to go on this channel, I ain't doing him a wowing. Like he was all, man, that dude really he really take notes. He a real student.
Yeah.
You're a researcher.
One thing I like about him is he like to prove people with fake information wrong. So I think his drive is more info than racial. Because he's out here seeing how these people is out here misappropriating Moors. And as you see, he went right in on the eyeballs to prove Florida is a Moor civilization.
Moors. Yeah, I said myself, I just seen that today, bro. I don't know what made me type his name in. Because ever since I was on the show with him, I ain't even looked him up. But bro, I looked him up.
Because we all in tune. That's what it is, man.
30 minutes before this show. And goddamn, I was like, dang, I'm gonna have to watch that video because I know he going in.
Y'all, and so like back to us using those conqueror terms. You dig what I'm saying? Like you said, it's not even racial. These are the facts. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with it. They want to divide us because they don't want us to build the way we should be building.
Right.
And if we, if we all can't communicate, or if we see, some people are mad at the similarities they see in each other. So if they got us that mad, then we'll never figure out how to create an abundance.
This how they got us, right? And I ain't want to cut you off, but this ain't gonna take me 15 seconds to paint the picture. The black man bad, the big King Kong black man want everybody girl. So everybody other group that's brown, Mexican, Latin, Hispanic, mestizo, all of them is in some great fear that the black man gonna take their women. So this is why instinctively people hate us, because they think we gonna take their women when that's not the case. When we should be one big, poly. What is the name of that Polynesian type group anyway? You know what I mean? We should be like that.
Yeah, we're all breathing the same air. You dig what I'm saying? They want us divided, and so like people stuck in the matrix. So they're just agents of the system, and we gotta work on deprogramming everybody. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that we are stating just the facts. It has nothing to do with these European concepts. You dig what
Right.
I'm saying? Yeah,
Right.
these European concepts are all about division because they know they can get paid if we're divided.
But
Hey,
that makes so much
by,
sense.
hey, and by the way, PNF, this is my brother McKinley Cougar. You feel me? This
Okay.
this is my brother PNF, man. Like,
Right?
Shout out to you.
Nice
you
to
know,
meet you, my boy.
for sure.
For sure, man. We all on the same page, probably just different books. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. It's just, man, I could have done so much in media for years. I came from a rapping background, entertainment. I done security for millionaires in Atlanta, well known through the Midwest. And when my homeboy Bankroll Fresh got murdered in Atlanta, well, he kind of killed himself. That was my wake up call. So I
Mm.
started doing videos nonstop, and I've never been a clout chaser or a fame chaser. I've been genuinely trying to do this. And D'Calico is the only guy who I met that is genuine, who ain't out here just trying to outdo somebody. He just wants the information. You feel me?
Right. Yeah, no, I exactly. I think that's why we're all three online like that because, it's kind of like one of those things that we find comfort in is
Right.
it's finding out this information. So if I know what I'm talking about, you dig what I mean? Then I'm good. You dig? Let's figure it out. And and,
Right.
and like real talk, they want us talking about relationship problems and all this other kind of stuff because if we figure out how to make these devices or how to create an abundance for people,
Right.
that's the last thing they want us to do.
Exactly, man. I'm trying to get over the hump now. Moorish for me is combining all the brown people, whether you Mexican, black, Negro, light skin. Melanin is melanin, especially the dominant melanin, right?
Right.
So, you know, like you said, that division keeps our eyes off protecting these borders over here instead of, you know, fighting with each other and quarreling over material things that don't matter instead of protecting our land. So I'm talking about the division is so bad, just it's gonna take 20, 30, 40 years just for us to get along and realize what they've done to us. That's how bad it is, you know?
You and man, it's about us posing the right question. I like to ask people, do you want to be deceived?
Right.
And most people say nah. And then from that point on, I think they're like, nah, I ain't trying to be deceived no more. Because somebody asked them that question. You dig what I'm saying? And as soon as we can figure out that right question to hit everybody with, you dig what I'm saying? That we'll be all right, man, and everybody will tune into the right answer. Because nobody wants to be deceived.
Yeah, man, but it's like what I noticed. Well, we're here though. We're here. Racial relations through the Hebrews. They didn't connected all the tribes. But the key word is this more word that it's like Chicago. Chicago is the scapegoat of every problem in America. Whatever go wrong, blame it on Chicago. Oh, look at Chicago. Same with the Moors. Moors sold us up. Moors did
Hey,
Moors that, which
and
is
don't
fake.
forget Florida. Don't forget
And,
Florida. Everybody want to bash Florida.
yeah,
You know what I'm
Florida.
saying? Yeah, anything crazy? Oh that's some crazy shit. Like niggas from Florida, man.
Right.
You know what I'm
They
saying?
compare it to Florida, right?
You know what? And that's what they do though. They turn the hero into the villain. So we've survived long enough to be the villain. We were the hero. We wouldn't show people
Right.
how to bathe. We
Yeah.
wouldn't show people how to bathe and how to feed themselves. Now all of a sudden we're the villain now. You dig
Yeah.
what I'm saying? We're the necessary evil in order for them to survive. You dig it? And we got to get them off because they're gonna tell everybody the truth. You understand what I mean? They see it. They see it. We got everybody else is in the matrix. But if they can stop us Moors, you know what I'm saying? Like we say, the rebel Moors, these rebel Moors. You dig what I'm saying? If they can stop us from telling everybody, "Hey, wake the fuck up," you dig what I'm saying? Then they're good. They're good. So they want us battling each other. You dig? Because I bet there's more proof within us than we could ever say. If we combined all our efforts and combined our ways of thinking, man, they couldn't contain us.
They can't. That's why I believe the Constitution say we the people. because we the people is not no particular title or special name. It's just us together out of love without trying to compete. It's just us people. You know what I mean? So
Hey, I
that
ain't gonna lie.
factor alone,
I
you
ain't gonna
know,
lie. It mean I in the white, I in the wheel. I in the wheel means we the people.
right?
Mm.
Bantu mean the people. So that
Yeah.
means together. That means my ideology is not bigger than yours, but one thing we got in common is love with the prophet, bro. And the moment that we love instead of hate, it's going to kill all of these aggressions and carnal natures that's developed in the lower self manifestations. You know what I mean? So that's what we ain't putting out enough. And that's why I decided to stop doing videos about the people, that we do videos on, and start focusing on love, because anybody can be evil and combative, but who is strong enough to show real love? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I'm putting out. And that's what the prophet brought. He brought love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Now let's see who can match that. You know what I mean? And that's the
Well,
only thing that's gonna bring the people together so they can combat their worst fears. You know, that's inside of it.
you, you know, I always think about these contradictory ideas, and so there's a lot of us who think we're spinning so fast we can't feel it. You understand what I'm saying? And they believe that contradictory idea, even though they, and so it's about us getting in there and deprogramming that crap out of people's minds. You know what I mean? That there's nowhere in reality where these things are possible, that people, that's why you have to have faith, that's why you have to believe in it, because it's not possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
I
us being
mean, faith is the first confidential belief that something gonna happen with confidence. Right. So it's the
able,
thought that's gonna trigger that towards your way, just like a miracle almost, you know. So you
you
gotta
know like
have faith.
what I mean is, like, we were talking about this earlier, my man, how as soon as man harnesses the power of the most high, then will he have salvation, right? So I think the sun is a device, so as soon as men harness the technology behind the sun, soon they will be free. You know what I mean? That's when they'll be free of all that stuff. And so they got us thinking that the sun is this burning gas in a vacuum, instead of it being a device that's close to us, and us being able to use that type of language, this truth, you know what I mean, that propels us into making these types of devices and these types of things that will push us into the future, because they don't want us in the future. They want us battling over racial lines. They don't want us talking about technology, you know or the technology of this place.
Right. Yeah, I agree. They want us in a primitive state and independent. I mean, dependent of what they believe is civil. You know. So that's what nationality come in at. And I wanted to ask, like, do you think it must be a war within, sort of civil war to separate? Or we must go on some type of missionary salvation mission to preach to every Negro and Latino in all of America. Because it's obvious we being held back, because we know that we don't need permission from the colonists to do nothing. But we got a large amount of our people, about hundreds of millions, who depend on their GMO and of course their drugs and entertainment. So what do we do? Wait on them people and just die? What if we all pass and our children? Come on now, we at risk of going back to slavery if we don't do something with these people, you know, or leave it up to God, maybe leave it up to Allah.
Well, it's us asking the right question. And so they say God answers prayers. Every time I see the word God, I replace it with the word love. So love answers prayers. So what's the right question we got to hit people with in order for them all to unite? You know what I mean? And
Right.
if we can think of that question, love is going to answer that prayer. You know what I mean? Love is going to help us formulate that question that they can no longer use to divide us.
Right.
And like you're saying, it's all about talking about love. Who's talking about love? Who talked to us about love growing up? You know what I mean? And what was the idea of love? But really, this whole place is an expression of love. and what it takes to sustain life. You know what I mean? Not only is it an expression of love, but it's also a blueprint on what we need to do to sustain life.
Yep, and Noble Drew Ali definitely, made sure that was the first principle. Love. Like, it was a sweet sister on TikTok earlier, and she was just professing love over everything. She was saying how we got to lead with love, and all I could think about was Noble Drew Ali, and how that's exactly what he led with as far as the 5 principles. You feel me? Love, truth, peace, freedom.
Hey, who was that guy? Who was that guy that you were talking about earlier? The Australian?
Oh no! I say he got that voice like it, but Dr. Ivan Van Sertima.
Because Noble Drew Ali said that too. He said when things change is when the European starts telling the truth, right? When they start telling the truth, then you'll know it's time. Something like that. I don't want to misquote.
Yeah. He say he'll make the European tell the truth.
Righteous, and that's what they're doing now. You feel me?
Like, let me show this. Since I just had the Olmec head up there, and they ain't paying no mind, they're just gonna overlook these things like it's supposed to be under the earth. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, no, these things was on land. What happened in the world that covered them in more than just sand? I mean, mud, dirt, buried, flooded out. Is there any other logical answer but mud floods?
Right.
Some type of plasma war. They was zapping these towns from the sky. And probably recently. Yeah, I'll support that.
I do, man. And like Lewis and Clark, they were finding these places and stealing those devices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they would have said, "Oh, they're just exploring." Nah, these fools was ransacking.
Ransacking, exactly. Anything compared to what they was fighting in Europe with the fierce Moros or the Moravian, what do they call the Roman side? What they used to over there, those weapons, anything same or similar over here, they was going at. Looking for it. And it's a ark in the Cougar and D'Calico this in Ethiopia. I forgot what the ark is called. The Ark of Enoch, one of them, if I ain't mistaken. But there's some ark. Some ark is on Ripley's, believe it or not. It's also an Ark of Mary, right? Mm-hmm. So these powerful etheric devices represent the elements and have powers beyond, people's comprehending based on them elements. So you might have the sun flare one, the one control ice, one control wind. You see what I'm saying? So this is a reality. You know what I mean? And these weapons is what they use, and these warfare is bigger than us. And I read Noble Drew Ali oral statements, and he said something about being on the apparatus, being in the ships above. And when you look at some of them clouds, like Brother Kali Amun Rabia exposing, them ships is in them clouds, and these beings exist inside this firmament, by these luminaries, all these fake stars that's really in our distance. They hiding up there or whatever, something going on, but it's more to just us little humans, with the cherubim and the seraphim and all that explanations.
And man, that's like one of those topics too, especially the depiction of it, like you said, back to the firmament. So what's above the firmament? And
the firmament,
yeah, and the Halley's Comet. I think about, like you said, he said it was a realm. He said it was a place. And so like Revelations, the sounds that Revelations made would be the same sounds we'd ascribe to mechanics, a mechanical device moving.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. and these in these periods of ice age when Ra has moved, like it said in Enoch, that the sun. And we, my bad.
No, I'm listening to you, bro. I agree with you. It's like a breath of fresh air because I believe in all of that. You got your way of breaking it down, but the device. It's so many ways to explain what I think the light is. Whether it be a device or it's a peek at the light beyond the waters. But my best theory I came up recently is they're definitely mechanisms, right? Especially the moon, and we really can't see the stars unless it's a moon out. I noticed that unless the moon is out, you can't really see the stars in this totality. And I'm thinking it's some type of light, like a black light demonstration going with these floating objects in the sky, these bodies that ain't really stars but man-made.
Well, have you ever heard of the term sonoluminescence?
No. I'll look it up right now.
Sonoluminescence.
You better look up Calico YouTube.
Yeah. Sonoluminescence is a sound wave captured in like a ball of light, right? And so they call it the universe, this one song, right? Because each one of those luminescent bodies vibrated with this principle of vibration. And from that principle of vibration, we can figure out the sound it's making, And so this universe, this one song, this one sound that spread across the land, I think is something that they're trying to keep us from tuning into. Because once we figure out this language, what if it's a language? And we combine these sounds and we have this language from these sounds, we'll probably be able to figure out a lot more. But they want us to think they're so far away, you never even see them until 3 days later. But I can actually see this sonoluminescent body moving across the sky. Look up star in a jar. That's probably the best example of sonoluminescence. But so they got us so that it's easy to figure out. Like we call it the universe, but they say, oh, it's forever expanding and getting larger. But the truth is, the universe is love song, God's song to us, And this is why they built these temples to replicate that sound that star was making.
And that's what SON means. It means sound. SON is the SUN. So when people even say song, it's spelled like that because it's sound. You feel me?
Right.
The
and the first and then God spoke. You dig? And then he made this sound. You dig what I'm saying? The sound came first. But my man, look up quantum levitation, right? Maybe I can throw it in the chat real quick.
Yeah, I'm looking up everything you see. I see the stars in the jar as a definite example of the firmament we live in and how these lights can continuously be powered by some mechanism.
Sonoluminescence.
Yeah, I looked it up. What is the next one you just said? Look up.
It's quantum levitation.
Quantum levitation.
Yeah, but sonoluminescence is, like you're saying, when sound penetrates a bubble. So space is a super fluid, right? So being that it's a super fluid, and all it would take is the sound to, create to create that light.
Right.
And so what we're looking at with all these stars is nothing but the most giant version of what we can do in the laboratory, which is sonoluminescence.
So
I'm the first flat earther that, like Bro Sanchez, them ain't never even using them words. Trust me. I'm
Hey,
just
yo,
Yeah,
man.
don't even focus on them because we on a whole nother level over here. See, we got them and confounded. See, they're trapped. They're trapped in that lower self, worried about what the more is. We gone because they don't
Right.
give you credit anyway. Leave them
yeah,
behind
Yeah,
on the
we're
red.
talking about the devices. You know what I'm saying? So here's an example of how. There's another one too, man. And I saw where they put like salt on this black plate, and then they vibrated that salt, and that salt formed what do you call it?
It's like
Uh, uh,
cryomatics or something like that.
it,
Dang,
it
what's that
formed a
word?
geometric shape. But then what they're missing is this. They want us to focus on the shape, not the sound. You understand what I mean? Oh, look what this sound. When really,
Right.
look what this sound makes.
yeah.
You
That's
dig
what
what
it
I
is.
mean?
Exactly. And that's with everything. That's what people don't understand. You know, like a car accident. Like that's literally, depending on how serious it is, that's the sound of death. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
like we know, like everything comes with that, associated with it. But people don't really pay attention to how important it is. I'm just saying.
Right. Uh,
I think it's called acoustic resonance, something
there
like
you
that.
there you go. Hey yo, and so what sound is that making? So if we can replicate uh the acoustic resonance with the sonoluminescent body, right? So this is obvious the same sound Mars is making, right?
Right.
This is obviously the same sound Venus is making. And I bet it forms a language. It forms this verse. It forms the question, I bet.
Right. Form keyword the formula. So basically, we can bypass getting high and working out and speed ourselves up to a certain vibration needed for
Go straight to
uncanny
the
powers
source.
and healing.
The source, Om. Uh-huh. That's
Mhm.
the source. That's the sound the sun is literally producing. You feel me?
I
That's why the
believe
first name for the sun is Om.
it. Right. That's even the symbol for it, right?
The Omega symbol. Yeah.
You
Cymatics. That's what it's called. Cymatics.
Yeah.
nice.
That's exactly what it's called. With the
Mhm.
and it has the geometrical shapes.
And just like we were talking about those cathedrals and those buildings. So those cathedrals and buildings have cymatics involved in their structure, right? And what we're calling pyramids was a building that had certain cymatics within it, and that resonated out and made these big, huge, beautiful gardens. You dig what I'm saying? Like they talk about moats around these castles, right? Where they were using the living water and funneling it in to these castles, and it was creating that word you just said, cymatics. Is creating cymatics, and those cymatics were vibrating off the walls in those structures, designed to give
Right.
off that sound. I bet, and that's why they put glass in there so it would no longer produce that sound that was coming out of it.
Right. Right. And it probably produce it through the wind. That's
Same
deep.
way, right? And so imagine if that whole neighborhood is vibrating off this electrical sound. You know what I mean? And it's a natural one that we find in the cymatics, and we put it as a window, right? And the air flows through there, and it probably hums to the whole neighborhood, and everybody's on the same vibe. You dig?
Hey, but
That's
somebody's asking, they say, did the mud flood occur in the late 1800s, circa 1860 to 1890? Did something happen around that time? Is that what sparked the Revolutionary War or Civil War? Is that really what ended the U.S.?
Well, remember the earthquake of Madrid and the prophecy comet with the Native Americans to come to them and they prophecies, and then them California earthquakes. So I
Right.
definitely think they had some tuning device where they was vibrating these the cores and destroying these lands intentionally.
Because when I think about this mud flood, like the only thing that I'm seeing that could possibly do that to the Sphinx and all these places, is at the probably volcanoes. Probably some badass volcanoes underwater did more than just the damage they'll do to the water. They kicked it all the way to the sky and all, so that would have also sent the water going to the land like crazy. But for one, when volcanoes go off, they send soot into the air, so it's damn near like just throwing dirt. You know what I'm saying? It's throwing pure carbon, pure soot everywhere, and that could be just pretty much ash that we're gonna associate with the sands and stuff, but it's just ash that's been shot out from the world's volcanoes.
All right. I sent you a picture of it should come in on your phone.
Yeah, you sent me some nasty. I wish I could I ain't gonna lie, I wish I could have put it on here. I'm trying to think how I can. Like, how did you find it? I could probably try to search for it right quick. Yeah.
Man, I think the ancestors was flooding it themselves, especially the Muslims and the Turks, because they knew they was destroying the Christians. Probably destroyed like 40 or something cities before they even went to the full-fledged crusades of antiquity. So they knew it. So a lot of these river towns, anyway, with the antiquities of the giants, more so the giants, like the Egyptians is focused on giant and Hittites and Titans. That's what they really is hiding, because that's where the real technology and the weaponry come in at. So that's what is going on. And I think a lot of that, they flooded it themselves because they knew the humans was taking over. And we just can't comprehend that we dealing with 20-foot tall people, 15 tall, people that got technology beyond our dreams.
You were talking about the ark earlier. And it made me think, the ark was an electrical device. So Moses flees. Pharaoh's like, let them go. Then they're like, he took the ark, and he's like, go after them. You know what I'm saying? He's got Egypt's power. It was an electrical device. You dig what I mean? Even the symptoms of getting too close to it sound like electrical poisoning.
Right, and then taking consideration the main characters is calling themselves the sun people, the solar people, right? So it's some type of energy device pertaining to that, and that would be like a sustenance for some, but it would be like a kryptonite to other, like Superman kryptonite.
This radiation is giving off this high radiation, this device.
Right. That's sort of like warfare. Like when people emit radiation to this day, governments around the world question you. They're gonna question you. It's gonna come on their radar, and they're gonna ask you about it, and you gotta come talk about it. So it's something about it. It's threatening to others, and by people being the people of the sun, and they building nuclear plants, which is all but outlawed. Hydrogen plants. That's dangerous to some people, man, especially those who got field memory.
The difference between fusion and fission, trying to separate something at its core is liable to blow up in your face. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's why I said no, because it's unstable. You should never try to separate people at their core. You know what I mean? But you can add to them all you want. But if you try to separate them at their core, it's going to blow up in their face. And so you remember we were talking about the rocks crying out earlier, right? And so this biblical text says when the rocks cry out. Do you know what the text says, man?
To my horse bullet.
Do you remember the the statement about the rocks crying out?
I mean, I know he was saying how he's gonna tell the truth.
Well, this idea of the rocks crying out was like part of Revelations. You know what I mean? The rocks would cry out when the last man. Um, wow, man, how trippy! So when we started disobeying God's law and using the house of El as our form of electricity, we went to nuclear fission right, and nuclear fission looks like the rock is crying; it's melting. You dig what I'm saying? And so when the rocks cry out, that's a signification that man isn't following God's plan or God's law because they're resorting to 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 fission instead of fusion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
this is
yeah, that's like saying fussing instead of coming together. You know what I'm saying? Yep.
right,
Vision instead of fusion. Fusion would be the union.
right.
Right.
But you know that idea of the ancients not being able to, like, how are you going to tell an ancient that's a nuclear reactor, right? So as soon
Right.
as right,
Yeah.
right, right. So the ancient says well, when the rocks start crying, you know, but really it's when this fusion reactor set off.
Yeah, come on now. We done seen the Sphinx had to get dug out. We done seen towns had to be dug out. Olmec heads had to be dug out. The Pyramid de Nietzsche's in Mexico and all these great structures had to be dug out.
Pyramid buried in the lake up there in Wisconsin. I think it's called Rock Lake Pyramid.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Like they think it's an accident. Like the Great Deluge might have been,
Right.
it had to been real.
It had to been. That's just too many underwater, under dirt, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's scary right there to me. That
Heck
just
yeah.
really woke me up.
I
Yep.
wish I could figure out how to send you those Enoch pictures, man. Because you know Enoch talks about, so what's responsible for the ice ages, and that's the sun moving around the sun. So right now, say if we have a clock face and we're at 6 o'clock, the sun has been circling 6 o'clock for 2,500 years, right? And then the mechanics of this realm operate. And then the sun starts circling 9 o'clock for 25,000 years. And then it circles 12 o'clock for 25,000 years. And then it circles 3 o'clock for 25,000 years, right? And so this idea of this deluge or when it's going to happen, when these mechanics of the realm start making this noise where it sounds like thunder and a seal in the sky is opened, right? Where they've documented it, but they haven't told us the truth about it. But I'm pretty sure it's predictable according to the time, you know. Did that make sense? My bad, y'all. We're we're now on this clock
Most definitely.
face that the sun's been circling above this area for 25,000 years, or for 2,500 years, and then when it leaves this area and starts circling 9 o'clock, this area becomes an ice age. You know, this area is in this ice age, and so this is what they don't want us to do. They don't want us to know when the sun's going to make this pivot, like Enoch explained, and they don't want us to know how to survive it or where to go from there. Well, man, I wish I could send you those pictures.
Hey, you can read that for him because you on point. Go ahead.
What is the 25,000 year phenomenon? The 25,000 year phenomenon is probably the precession of the Earth's axis, right? When we want to think about the precession of the hour hand, right? The Earth is like a top, as it is rotational energy runs down. It wobbles in such a way that the North Pole points at different stars. The effect of the precessions has on climate change is well known. Right now, the North Pole points towards the sun during the winter.
See
Right,
when you decode that globe talk, right?
right,
What they really saying is the opposite. So it's not the Earth wobbling. It's like you said, the sun every 25,000 years, making that transition from 3 to 6 to 9 and back to zero.
whoa,
And that shifts what we or that shifts the polar regions of the Earth. It's not going to be a polar region anymore. So we call them poles because they're polar, not because they're any they're not a point per se. You feel me? But
right,
they are polar. So when the sun shifts, polar regions shift.
righteous,
So the middle ground is what's most important. That's why people say all life came from Africa, because they're talking
right.
about the central continent in the center of it,
Yeah,
and
the name,
never experienced what they call the ice age. You feel me?
right.
It never experiences that. It never has. So
Oh,
all life would have changed or died off. You feel me? So
right.
it's crazy, man. Not to
Oh,
say
man,
South America doesn't possess that. I mean, I give credit to all of the equator, but there's going to be some shifts that's going to turn. Even like Antarctica was not always a cold place, you know.
right.
Yeah,
Um, man,
Trump.
I don't. There's a clock in in Europe, right? And this clock has been running forever, but underneath it is a map of our crater. And right now, it like because we're here, it even depicts a sun going around here. Uh, let me see if I can do a Google search on the name of this uh, clock.
What's the name of it?
Hold on, my man. The Google.
Hey, we say Master Killer from Wu Tang said they only make them like us every 25,000 years. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Pull up this image for you.
And that dwarf star, right? That's that blue star that the Native Americans were talking about.
Mm.
Once this blue star comes around, that's when the shift happens.
You feel me? Right. I'm not even really interested in what their take on it is, you know,
Right.
more so the imagery and just the simple fact that even they're telling you that these ancient civilizations were buried in sand and dirt and, earth, mud, huh? They were buried. Archaeologists find civilizations underground. How did they get covered? Is our current ground level higher than it was in the past? People migrated and disseminated, leaving unwanted structures behind. Yeah, right. Deserted buildings degraded from a lack of maintenance. Plants overtook the space, died and decayed, building layers of soil over the centuries. You hear that, boy?
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff is not even old enough for that to be the case.
Yeah.
You know?
7 feet deep, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Buildings
Or
that look,
7 stories deep.
and that's all they got to say on that. They just wanted to say that. What I got going on? Okay. Yeah.
And so this idea of once we master quantum levitation and sonoluminescence, so sonoluminescence being this language, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so these things happen in cycles. You know, we start figuring this stuff out in cycles, just like the cycles of the menstruation. And now we're probably at this last, well, not last cycle, but at the beginning of a new cycle.
Yeah, mic check. I think yeah, when I
Who me? No, I'm here, my man. My bad.
yeah, I thought the sound there went out.
But those mud floods, were you able to find the Prague astronomical clock?
The what was the name of it?
Prague.
Oh, Prague.
Yeah, astronomical clock.
Mm-hmm. Hold on one second. You might be talking about the astrolabe. Let me see.
Yeah, I think an astrolabe is based on the same stuff.
Oh yeah. Hold on one second. Waiting on to pull up. Yeah, that's like astrolabe.
Right. And so you see how it's opened in that circle where that's supposed to be the circle we're in, right? That opening right there. And the sun's going around that inner circle. And then that inner circle moves from 6 o'clock to 3 o'clock. I mean, from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, then back again to 12 o'clock.
You see an astrolabe?
Oh, yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah, this is what the Moors had anciently. You know.
And look at those diagrams. Those diagrams look like astronomy symbols, signs.
That's all it is. Because when we talk about clocks and all that, that's why when Benjamin Banneker gave them the clock, he just gave them a almost it's like making a digital version of the Big Ben. We already had big shit popping like this. We already had the astrolabe and such. You know, the compass, the sextant.
My man, I saw somebody like open up one of those, and like you could track the moon, and it would tell you the time. You could track.
That's what those different circles are for. It's just like see the hands on the watch. The minute hand, MIN, min means moon. You know, so it represents the moon, the minute hand, and we know, hour, or we can go with the second. The second is coming from what we call Mercury, because it's the fastest planet, around the sun. And then we know, and then hours is the word Horus, so it represents the sun. Horus represents the sun, right?
15 degrees.
Yeah.
Every hour. Yeah.
So our hand is the sun. The minute hand is the moon. The second hand is Mercury.
So, my man, can you go back to that Prague clock real quick?
Yep. I just want to show that they're the exact same.
And so that the Prague clock lets us know when the shift is going to happen. Because where that opening circle is, that's where we are right now, in that opening. And then it shifts, say at 9 o'clock, and it's running that way too. Looks like it has shifted. It doesn't look the same as the picture I have of it.
And it's just also symbolic of our universe. And it's showing how, like you say, or like the information was saying about that 25,000 year precession or whatever, that our sun is basically,
Well, like on that,
traveling around a dwarf star.
well, like that picture on the right? That picture on the right that's up right now. You see the circle with it, the small sun within the inner circle. So that's so the blue area underneath is our known land, what we know so far, what they show us. And so the sun's
universe,
circling.
that's our known universe.
Right, the sun's circling around that area. And then once this center circle moves, it circles around another area, right? And so our area turns into an ice age.
Exactly. Or area. You know what I mean? Same thing, because it's gonna definitely be like that for an era. You know.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Every 25,000 years.
Yep.
Give or take.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, that clock is pretty accurate, they say. You know, that they don't even have to mess with it.
So I got to look down.
But that being that's what's responsible for the mud flood. Is
exactly.
that the sun makes its shift and starts circling around extraterrestrial land.
Watch this, because now you touching on it for real. So we got to talk about the yugas. You know, the four yugas, or the cycles of time, right? Let's see if I can find something, but all right, we just go to images. $24,000-year life cycles of Earth, right? Like, these people had it on their maps as far as when these floods were coming, and they were like guaranteeing that it's coming.
Right.
You know, I probably should go to Google search, but I like it.
So I don't know when the age of Noah was. You know, the age of Moses was the age of the bull, right?
You said the age of Noah would have been, I mean, you know, it's every 2,000 or so years, maybe, you know, give or take, right, 2,100 or whatever. So we'd have to just go backwards on the zodiac, knowing that we entering the Aquarian, leaving the Piscean.
There you go. So, you know, the age of Leo was when we find these sphinxes everywhere.
All right.
We're in the water age now.
Go to the zodiac since you say that, right?
Beautiful.
Let me see. Okay, I see Aries at the top, and then Taurus and all that. So that means this way. Yeah, Aquarius is the water bearer. So of course that would be her, right? Him or her right here, the water bearer. And that means in the next 2,000 or so years, we'll be in the Piscean. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, we just left the Piscean, so we're going
We're
counterclockwise.
going in the Capricorn. We're going in the Capricorn, huh? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
So we've been taught backwards, huh?
Yeah. Or that's how they confuse us. Like if you ever notice, like the picture of Orion, Egyptian, the Egyptian description of it, he's pointing the other way. He's standing looking the other way, while the Orion they teaches is pointing his arrow a different way. While the Egyptians have him pointing towards Sirius.
So we left the age of Pisces. So they've been having us going clockwise all this time when it's all counterclockwise.
Right. The processions.
Like, come on, man. So that could be the same case for the yugas.
Okay.
Like they tell us, we've been taught a certain way when we know English is literally reading backwards compared to the rest of the world, the ancient world especially. But so we just have the Piscean age. So before that would have been the age of Aries.
The rams all over the place.
Age of Aries. So all of this, when we talk about BC, the first 2,000 years before Christ was the age of Aries.
Right.
The age of Christ was the Piscean age. Right.
So, yeah.
And now we're going into the Aquarian age. So it's kind of clockwise from what we've been taught. So that means we're going further. Next will be the Capricorn. So hold on, we were doing this to find out the age of what?
Noah.
Sphinx. Oh,
yeah. So the age of Leo, and then the age of Taurus,
Leo.
And so we
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12,000 years ago, to say the least, which would have been the Ice Age, and which would explain, floods also, because the thawing out of the ice was about 12,000, 9,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have started a major flood. That's why I say North America was underwater, because it was a major glacier. It already has thousands of glaciers over here now.
Right.
It was major glaciers. Like they say, the amount of water that was in North America, the glacier must have been 2 miles thick. So that is a mountain of ice. And that's just the most massive one that's not around. So that was the end of the Ice Age. That would have been a hell of a flood.
So it looks like
in North America.
It looks like those three in the middle, those two in the middle. So Scorpion and what's that, Virgo? Like there's no history of those two time periods.
Mm-hmm.
Or he was born in Virgo.
Yeah. Because the way we've been taught, we would have just left the age of Capricorn. Because we be going clockwise. But we literally just left the age of Pisces. So it's crazy, man. Yeah. That's why, people, like I hear people every day be like, "Oh, I've seen this or that before." Like, let's say if I was up here with some fools, and I was like, "Hey, pull up the zodiac. Let me see the zodiac right quick." Since we talking about that, they be like, "Man, fool, I seen the zodiac before. Man, I ain't new to this. I'm true to this, man. I seen the zodiac 100 times, dog." Yeah, me
Hmm.
too. Me too. Yeah.
You know, this I was reading the comments. American Industries. He asks, "What does the Julian calendar have to do with time today, and how we are not observing the right cycles, therefore stunting our growth?" Yeah, exactly. Like the Gregorian calendar definitely um, hides the 13th month, right? And so it is stunting our growth because there's something inherent in us grasping this idea of 13 months. And because we don't recognize it, I think it's one of those things that we're totally unaware of that they've kept hidden from us. Yeah, that's the one.
It's Americans. Americans.
American.
Yep. Okay, we got the flat fact in here, huh?
The flat facts.
He said precession is backwards.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Chicago's forward and backwards. Mm. Hope it don't go round and round. I don't know.
Well, see, that's the thing, man. They don't want to, they want us to not think, they want us to think we're an accident, that we're evolving on some spinning ball. Instead, that this place was created to sustain life, and we have the privilege of being here now, right? And like one thing they can say about the Earth is it is designed to sustain life, right? We just got to figure out how it does it on its own. I think the whole
Okay.
thing is based off.
Okay. So you were saying, so boom, you just literally said that the age of Leo was that time of Noah and that time of this great flood. So the end of the ice age obviously is what we're speaking on. And the Bible literally was whispering about that. Huh? Ain't that wild? You
Right.
know what I mean? Because when it spoke on Noah, it always spoke on the great flood. And some people say this happened 6,000 years ago, or the Bible's only 6,000 years ago. Well, not when we're looking at the zodiac. If we going off the zodiac and going off the amount of time that it would have had to take based on, the symbology, the symbols that, the clues that they left,
Righteous.
just like Jesus did with this Piscean, this Virgo connection, you know.
Uh,
So
and I think a lot of that stuff is hidden in astronomical terms, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
where the lion lays with the lamb, right? Where these astronomical periods overlap, you know, and then we'll have peace, so things of that nature. While they turned it into some type of dogma, it really is um, the procession of the zodiac, But we got to believe that a lion and a lamb will be cool with each other when really they're talking about the procession of the zodiac, when the lion and the lamb, are visible in the same sky together.
no, come on, man. Now this fire, like this, what I mean when I say East and West Indians are the same people. You know what I mean?
Righteous.
Like this is Mexico's sunstone, and it aligns with Hindu yugas. Huh? showing you the calculation of the time through the yugas. This is why they would tell you when certain cataclysms were coming or apocalypse would come. You
Right.
always got this from this culture of people, you know. And the sunstone portrays the four suns or worlds, like we said, four suns, because like you already spoke on every 25,000. They're saying every 24,000, but every 25,000 years to be round with the number. The sun is making a transition. This is causing an overflow of water in multiple areas and places. But the sunstone portrays the four suns or worlds of the mother culture in ancient Mexico, from Teotihuacan, right? Because
Teotihuacan.
I always say Teoti. I make them pay attention because I
Tehuti.
know, like you got, because Teo means God, uh-huh. And then you got T, like Teoti or Teoti or Tihu, Teotihu, right? Like we'll call him Tehuti. You feel me?
Right.
So Teoti or Teotihuacan, 20 glyphs encircling a human head aligned with Hindu yuga ratios in a grand cycle of the 24,000 years. The Greek great year is identical in length and character. Transition into the ascending Dwapar Yuga moved into full swing in 1899. Over 124 years ago. Right? The long count ended 113 years later in 2012. So the mini glacial age.
So if we put the Mayan calendar, we put the Mayan calendar on top of the Prague clock, right? And so what they're calling third sun is really the third position of the sun. This is the fourth position of the sun, the fifth position, sixth position. When the sun's in this area up here where these ice ages are, you know what I mean? We don't have any accountability for that because we was in an ice age. You know what I'm saying? But we know about the first, second, and third, and sixth sun, positions of the sun. Just like the Prague clock was demonstrating. My bad. You still there?
Hey, yeah, my bad. Can you read that, brother?
Which part, my man? The bottom part right here, the mini glacial age, the Maunder age minimum ended, and the industrial revolution age began in the 200-year transition period of the Dwapara Yuga. The feathered serpent Quetzalcoatl emerged with a full color of feathers at Teotihuacan and was known as Kukulkan among the Mayans. And then what's this one? The second sun descending, long count, and the first sun descending, long count. I can't really see in there too much. Huh. Man, looks like the CERN device. Oh, yeah. Those so see they got it all
Hey, bro, they literally got it superimposed over a flat Earth map.
right, right, but they only got that part of the map that we're in. Like supposedly there's more of the map. You know what I mean? And so if we would do like the Prague clock, like they know of these extraterrestrial lands, and the Prague clock shows it. Oh, yo, man, my phone's dying, partner.
Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie. I got to kind of shut it down because my computer about to kill me too, man. I ain't lying, but I definitely appreciate you, brother. Cause that Prague clock or that astrolabe along with the Yugas and the Mayan, is that the Mayan calendar? Yeah, when you line all that up, it's too accurate. They'll be scared of that. It's connecting all the dots.
Stop this train, you know it's coming. Get out my way, I know it's something. Elite here, haters there. I bet we control something. I bet we gon' show something. I bet we gon' smoke something. Just don't let it be you, bruh. You can't stop this train, you know it's coming. Get out my way, I know it's something. Elite here, haters there. I bet we control something. I bet we gon' show something. I bet we gon' smoke something. Just don't let it be you, bruh. You're looking for me, I'm looking for you. Like he's seeking, I'm gonna destroy you. When you sneaky, you got to board. Fried that nigga ain't cooking, or he tried to leave, thought shit was sweet. Now them back, I was looking for him. You spot him out, take him out, and then bring back his head back to it. Some say that my head is clueless. I've got sense but barely use it. Behind them tints, I'm very ruthless. Got glad aim, but you didn't do it. Stop this train, you sound foolish. I stop your brain before you use. On top of stanzas, where's my music? Got skills like Nike, just use it. It's not likely you can do this. I rock clubs, you'd have them born. Have to tie him down and listen. I'm the type they rock cruising.
Hold up, right? Because when we're dealing with the Kali Yuga, like they say, maybe this isn't the Kali Yuga after all, right? Because people didn't associate it with the sun, you know, anything to do with, tracking the sun. But how else can we track time if we're not associating with the sun? So Cal meaning black, Cal L meaning the Superman. Where does Superman get his power? The sun. So Kali is that source, huh? Like I'm going back to Cali. Cali. That's what made that song proper. It wasn't saying Fornia. The Fornia didn't mean nothing. It's the Cali. Like D'Calico. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the Coke. Even though that's American. You see it everywhere. Texcoco, Mexico, all that kind of stuff, Bay Coco, all of that. So Kali Yuga, these Kali Yuga cycles is literally like my brother masterfully pointed out, the movement of that sun every 25,000 years. So hold on. One second.
Long night, make the honey, y'all. Share on bubble, lemon, y'all. Big check, fat, big trips, everything. Trip. Yeah, man.
Now the sun gonna be moving. Yeah, it's just like a farmer's almanac. You know, there's just laws, there's nature's laws that decide when the mud flood comes. Period. That's the only thing that determines. You feel me? We're dealing with nature. Nature made the calls.
So when you call, baby, please handle your business. So when you call, baby, please handle your business. Cause I ain't shit though, you but I'm the shit though. You bring me up, you take me to my full potential. I take that bullshit and toss it out the window. This what you telling me, you stuck up in my mental. Hey, cause I ain't shit though, yeah, but I'm the shit though. You bring me up, you take me to my full potential. I take that bullshit and toss it out the window. That's what you telling me, you stuck up in my mental. I need you. Sha-na-na-na-na, you're the one I want. I need you. Sha-na-na-na-na, you're the one I need. Oh, baby, I want you. Sha-na-na-na-na, you're the one I want. I need you. Sha-na-na-na-na, you're the one I need. Oh, baby. You the one I want, so I had to go and get. You the reason all them feelings had to split. They say you green when it comes to these streets, and you make me mean when I'm flowing on them beats. So many times you done got me in them sheets. You be lying, saying all on me. That some perfume smell all on me. Kiss you like my wifey. Pay for you like my white tee. The color purple on you excite me. I'd rather smell you every time I breathe. Cop you then I leave. So much smoke, oxygen I weave. Still we see no felonies. I'm smoking Ice Cube on Fridays, cause every 7 days I'm paid. So much smoke, oxygen I weave. Still we see no felonies. I'm smoking Ice Cube on Fridays, cause every 7 days I'm paid.
I know you don't smoke weed. I know this. But I'm gonna get you high today. Cause it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
I need you. Sha-na-na-na-na, you're the one I want.
I need you to tune in next time. I appreciate all y'all. Hit that like button. 100.